Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. As y'all know, I'm your host, Masters32210. Now, what we're doing today, actually, we're not building nothing today. We're gonna watch some people build something today. These guys are kind of cool. I don't really know them, but I have seen them around town. They just happen to work for the distributor that does metal buildings. They actually come out of the neighboring state for about pretty good ways away, and they're actually out today to kind of give us the office and the tool room, the start and closing. And I'm sorry guys, I'm not trying to avoid the camera, just trying to make sure they don't get stuck in my yard. They're pulling in, they're trying to back the trailer up, and I already kind of warned them where it's going to get soft and mushy. So I think they've decided to kind of stop where I recommended so they don't bog down. Now they might be able to make it a foot or two more. Nah, I think they're going to heed to my warnings. Well, on the back of that trailer is my metal to encapsulate the whole front of this. We're going to add a door. Now unfortunately, kind of OCD, I wanted my doors to swing inward, but he was just telling me that this door will swing outward towards the front of the building, and on this door it's actually going to swing inward. It will kind of work. I'm not really picky at this point. I just want to get all of this closed up, and of course we do have to install these it's a ICC breakaway flood vents. And then what it is say if a flood happened to come through here, because I am in a flood zone, the water rises, it seeps its way into the building, floods the building. Well, as the outside water recedes, it's got to have a way to relieve the static pressure. And what it does, it's a two-piece part. You have the frame, and you have the piece that actually just pops right out. And in case in the flood, if it hauls tail, you can actually just reorder these. These are the non-vented models, and I have to thank Chris over at Crawl Space Doors. I believe it's crawlspace.com. or Crawl Space Door Systems. You can see it's just basically a piece of plastic riveted with some fake vents. But I'm gonna let these guys get set up. I'm actually gonna drink more coffee because I'm exhausted early this morning, and we just might tinker on the side in between filming. Sneak peek, this is a project I started off camera, but I do want to eventually bend one of these frames on camera to kind of show you guys. Stay tuned. We'll be back with you in just moments. We can see right now they're gonna actually pull all these. They're gonna go ahead and pull all these braces out. And what I'm thinking is have them relocated on the inside, kind of like the back wall is, so that way it gives the building rigidity, and that way I can have nice smooth transition walls. He was explaining to me at the very tip top where the last panel is going to go, it's going to leave like about a 2 1/4 inch gap, so we're going to have to find something to fill that in, but that's to be determined at a later date. I got some excitement. We already got the first door going to be sat in. Little clips here and there, we'll bring you in as we go along. Okay, walking over here, this is amazing. Less than not even 5 minutes, which I see the simplicity of these buildings. Put in a header, put in we'll call this a stud, L brackets, quick screws, the door's in place. We'll come back and wipe that off. Maybe put our shop logo right here. We're going to do the same definitely for the office. Walk through a wall, and we can see this, like we got an actual tool room formed. The rest of this should go up just as quick. They'll come through here, lay out the sheet panels. They'll probably start from the bottom, work their way up. Like I said, it's actually very simplistic, but it'll give me more peace of mind. Once I get the rest of all this junk, this will come out. We're going to go ahead and just pour our own concrete floor in here. So what I'll do is, once that time comes, I'm going to bring a cement mixer in here, run a water hose in with some temporary lighting, and we'll start from that corner, work that back wall and come towards me. This is a pretty awesome crew that they sent out to enclose these buildings. He was just showing me as the previous crew made a blunder, which, like on this leg is actually kicked out 3/4 of an inch outward towards the top than when you get to the bottom, so it's going to create a gap. But he was able to fidget the metal where he can still get a nice seamed edge. These guys actually know what they're doing. The last crew, I mean, they were good, but they weren't good as this crew coming out. Something simple as that. Ooh, let me get out of their way. Oh, all right. Which you could tell quality from people that actually do something like this for a living. The other guy, I'm not downing him or his crew, but he definitely had a little misfit crew that couldn't just take a square and just double check and align everything. So, little disaster averted. I mean, this is awesome right here. You see, we got almost this completely enclosed. They're working on the last bottom sheet now. Once that goes in, this side basically, besides some trim work, and I had asked them to take, we had 5 braces that went across inside here, which I'd asked them just go ahead and take the 3 centers. We're going to rebrace them from the inside, kind of like the opposing wall. So that's going to be kind of awesome. This side's almost done, and I seen what he was talking about. There's going to be a small inside gap, about 2 to 2 3/4 inch, where this side wall comes up. It's basically, let's say about 2.5. It's going to be the thickness of that post. But what I'll do is I'll take some 2x material, or I can come back in with some. Maybe we'll see. We can even take some of that, and I'll slip it in so that could be fully enclosed, and it's going to get foamed on the inside anyway. They're getting another piece ready, which they got to rip it down to fit across this bottom. So we'll be back here in a second. I know it's getting kind of noisy out here. Not even really rushing, without super speed, just cruising through it. Less than an hour and a half later, we got this whole side enclosed. Well, let me rephrase that. Not me. They did. Last piece is going in. There's still a couple more things to do. Like there's the white trim edge that's going to go on there. They still got a lot more screws to add in. But tool room is basically enclosed. Still dig the retro 70s style, little squarish diamond window, whatever you want to call that. Here we go, walking into the tool room. Yeah, it's nowhere near a tool room yet, but sooner or later. You can see because this is just the nature of how metal buildings are done, you're gonna have little holes where the little arches in the metal that give it strength are gonna be. So I'll come back in here and I've got 2 giant cans of spray foam, and I'll probably buy several more. I'm gonna come down each outside corner, the roof, anywhere there's potential for holes. And the closer I get here, you can kind of see the sunlight down there. So I mean, I already knew that's to be expected. If I have the money in the future, what I would like to do is spray foam the entire, both the tool room and the office. I've asked the gentleman to go ahead and leave me some of the extra sheet metal that's from the cutouts from doing like the bottom wall and whatever, just in case. I've had several ideas how to enclose this. It's just the way I had my building done. Now this is not typical. If I would have went with, I think they call it vertical, where the sheet metal, instead of running lengthwise, would have had extra bracing, and they would have came through and ran them from beginning to end, that would have actually done a little different. But the way I had went with a little bit cheaper of a setup, to fit it in my budget, this is what it's going to do, is it created a small gap. So I have several ideas how to enclose that, and I told them I'll take care of that myself. Don't worry about it. It's not that big of a deal to me. By the time I enclose that and spray foam it, it's basically just going to keep insects and critters from just coming across the wall. Same thing with, like I said, all the little perforations. We'll come through with some spray foam, just put a little dab in each little hole. That will basically block this until I do the final insulating. But as soon as these guys are done, I'm trying to acquire the funds to put concrete. We're going to go with a 2.5-inch concrete pad inside. Actually, no, it's not a pad, it's a floor. The difference is if this was a slab where the building sat on it, I would have to have permits, but because I'm pouring a floor in here by county standards, I don't have to have any permits. And what we're going to do is just come up. We're going to come up the thickness right here. This is 2.5-inch by 2.5-inch square tubing. So what I'll do is I'm just going to pour it inside of here, and that will give me a thickness of 2.5 inches. Should be more than adequate for what I want to do. And on the office portion, because I have all the stuff stored in there now, they weren't able to, and I knew they weren't going to be able to get in there and put these 3 braces, kind of like the other side. So I told the gentleman, just leave me the braces inside that side, and just leave me a handful of screws, and they were more than capable of helping. They're like, you sure? I told them I'm not your typical homeowner. I don't mind getting my hands dirty. While the guys are out there sawing away at more tubing, he's went ahead and started the frame out for the flood vents. Basically, it's going to be identical all the way around. Both buildings, I have them located right near the doors, and it will go right there on the opposing wall. They got to be maximum of no higher than 1 foot above ground level. So basically, he's got 1 bar running across. He'll have a short one on each side. The frame will be done. He'll probably drill 4 marks in each corner, cut it out from the outside, and then install it. Now here we go. We got the first flood vent installed. It's fully framed out. Now this is technically code compliant, which I'm not the one to argue with the engineers, but I think it's utterly retarded. But supposedly the way it works is if water starts flooding inside your building, let's say the water level's up here, as the surrounding water around the building starts receding, what these vents are made to do is, instead of the water inside trying to find a way out and blowing the walls out, it's made to literally pop these loose, and the water's supposed to gush out of them. Now I hope I never have a flood that requires them, but for right now they're code compliant. And yes, so like I said earlier, these louvers are just for the looks. I didn't want the vented style because the whole point of an office and a tool room is to keep critters out, not to keep them coming in. Guys, I appreciate y'all sticking hopefully to the end of this video, that y'all are still with me. All 4 the flood vents are done, installed. All the metal is completely done, besides what I have to do at the top. And like I said, for what I knew was going to happen, so it's not that big of a deal. I even told the guys don't worry about it. They left me some of the extra sheet metal I need to go ahead and bring up here. Figure one last walk around. All my stuff's inside. Hopefully over the course of this near future, I'll get the cement bags out here, start trying to at least go ahead and lay in my floor so we can build the tool room. We're going to do that first because this is a tool room / storage. I'm still trying to decide on everything. I think we're going to put the workbench that came out of the original Chop Shop Customs against that back wall. Maybe some tall shelving along this wall. Then we'll have all the other toolbox, drill press, bandsaw, everything lined up in here. So since we get to do this for the very first time, and yes, I do have the keys, lock it. Now that stuff's locked up. Coming back around to the office, or the soon-to-be office. Right now it's just massive storage. Walk in, and all my junk's in here, I know, but it is at least out of the prying hands of thieves. So just as well, it's getting hot. This is about 10:30. There they go. Thank God they didn't get stuck. The door's locked. We're done. I appreciate you staying on this saga. This is all done. It's permitted. I don't have to hear crap out of those neighbors that started all this mess. But at least it was a push in the right direction because, like I was stating, this is the kind of building I wanted originally. I originally wanted a 3-bay, 30-foot by 50 with 3 doors. But the cost and price-wise, it was kind of way out of my budget. but I like the barn the way it is. Instead of having a central roll-up doors and being enclosed, we got both what we need, and I could just work out here. I'm going to plan on coming up through the top. We'll put in maybe some fans, some industrial fans that hang down from the roof. We're going to have some lighting running through here. This is all coming up here in the near future because we're going to get power going. Guys, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Give me a thumbs up. Please help this video. The company that actually came out was All Metal Buildings. They're in Waycross, Georgia. I found out these guys, these installers, actually live in Valdosta, which is about 2 hours away. So they actually had to leave their location at 5 in the morning to get to me by 7. So I'll give them a thumbs up for sure, because those are some hard-working guys. It's like he said, it took a hair longer than what it should have, but he wanted to make sure this was done correctly. And I do give him that because he looks like he knows what he's doing. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.